If your country has been involved in 23 confirmed proxy wars since 2000, if you're the self-proclaimed military superpower of the world but haven't been a part of a decisive victory since 1945, if your country is built on genocide, slavery, and betraying allies and citizens that helped you establish your country without upholding your end of your promises, if your country flexes military power and strict policing while condemning revolutionary speech, the reason your country exists, if your country is quicker to condemn calls for freedom as violent than they are the actual genocidal violence going on by some of your allies, your country is weak. And your country is deceptive. And your country just might be America. Male and Male Megwa. I am New the Night of Day, and this is Noon News with New Atu. For those of you who believe that history started on October 7th, I'd just like to give you some numbers since then. We don't even have to talk about all the things that led up to these events. There are reportedly around 25 to 30,000 Hamas members. On October 7th, 1,200 people and 36 children were killed, murdered, massacred. At the Nova Music Fest, 364 civilians were murdered. The Gaza confirmed death toll is between 53 to 54,000, including 16,000 children. Israel has killed 45 times as many people and 444 times more children than Hamas on October 7th. What is justice to you? These numbers so that the parasites in some people's brains don't start saying, this can't be right, this is propaganda. These numbers are the lowest numbers that I could find in regards to the Gazan population. The number of unconfirmed probably make this a much, much greater death toll. So what makes the US weak? Tax breaks for the rich. This is akin to if you had a stud in track and you guys had him run a mile, or her, and after they completed each lap out of 4, they got a nice 15-minute break. You fanned them off, made sure that they were rehydrated and ready to go. And the rest of the people who were not going to be great at track, they had to run 3 miles with no breaks. It's also akin to having boxers run a Shark Tank. You have 5 stud pro boxers and 1 boxer who just kind of does it for fun. In this Shark Tank, it's 5-minute rounds, and each minute, one of the pro boxers switches out for another. There's effectively 4 minutes of rest per round per all the pro boxers, and the boxer who's just kind of doing it to get a little bit better and has a nice hobby of it gets no breaks. Add on to that the stud boxers are trying to actively knock out the boxer who just does it for fun, just teeing off the whole time. Is this making anyone better? Is this making the boxing gym itself better? What makes America weak is its deception and its deceptive ways of propagandizing and just thinking overall. I think we all understand that if you get into a fight one-on-one with somebody, that pulling a gun on them and shooting them dead is a weak thing to do. Some people might say it was the clever thing to do, and the smart survive. In a fist fight, it is pretty rare that somebody's going to kill you with their hands. You were not smart for pulling a gun on them. You were deceptive. The unspoken agreement was that you were going to hash this out, and that everybody was going to walk away, hopefully, better, as ridiculous as that line of thinking is. But sometimes I'll say, it's necessary. Some people just gotta get punched in the face. You pulling out that gun and shooting them changes the agreement and makes it so that it's a life or death situation. It's no longer about lessons learned. It's not about who is more skilled. And though you survived, you are undoubtedly the weaker man. What makes it worse is that when you're done killing him, you can go and you can claim self-defense. You can be a hero. And remember, this is an analogy for America. So if we want to make it a little broader, now let's say that it's not you one-on-one with another man. Let's say it's with a child, and the child doesn't know that you are in conflict. And instead of a gun, you are tucked away in an office, miles and miles away, pressing a button that sends a precision strike to eradicate any living and non-living thing within a certain radius. So now you don't even have to face the consequences of what you've done. You don't have to see the damage, although I'm sure you'd like to from a distance. You're not only so far that they can't do anything about it, not only are they unarmed, now let's go ahead and put this child in a hospital, probably sleeping. And on top of that, probably unable to actually get out of bed and run. So, is it the child's fault if a child's parent started a fight with you and you blew up that person's entire family from miles away? Is that the dad's fault? And if you think it is, I think you live in a fantasy land. I think you've let propaganda and social media and war movies poison your mind. And I don't think that you have enough real life experience. America is weak because of its hypocrisy. Some people will support Israel because they're supposedly God's chosen people. And for that reason, they're chosen to have victory over whomever they see fit. And since they're chosen to have victory, any resistance places God's chosen people as the victims. Because you are not supposed to resist, you are not supposed to criticize, you are not supposed to attack, you are supposed to allow God's chosen people to do that to you. And we're all supposed to bear witness. Because you didn't just spawn in to be eradicated due to the glory of some other being. No, you were specifically created for this purpose, to be subhuman, to be beneath the chosen. Because before you were formed in the womb, this God knew who you were and what you do. And even though you might have lived a complete life full of love, happiness, or maybe you weren't even able to get to that point. Maybe you weren't able to be born at all, or to eat your first solid foods. Somehow, that God knew his people deserved to slaughter you, and you deserved to be slaughtered. And we call it justice, mercy, and love. It's also one of the very few times that I've seen the U.S. champion a minority. Most of the time, we're too busy gaslighting black people and punching down on everybody else. But the difference here is Israel's proximity to whiteness. The Israeli state and the Jewish people went through one of, undoubtedly, the most horrendous historical events of our recorded time. And so for that reason, they are victims. And now it seems as though they've been given institutionalized power and powerful friends who not only will allow, but will support the Israeli state returning the favor to people who had nothing to do with those horrific events. Because for some reason, our twisted version of justice is getting your get back, even if it's on people who weren't involved. It's continuing the cycle, not doing the real brave thing of challenging the powers that allow this to happen, or the people who are directly responsible. Is your military that sophisticated and that powerful if you can't help but murder thousands and thousands of children and civilians in an attempt to eradicate a force that is a fraction of yours? In America, we want to win, but we don't know what victory is. Defeating Hamas, keeping an occupied people either still occupied or eradicating them completely. Where's the victory in that? We don't want to compete. We want to succeed. Capitalism isn't about competition. It's not about iron sharpening iron. It's about standing on a podium and saying, I beat you. by any means necessary, winning. And the only way to win is to beat somebody else. It's not about you getting better. It's not about them getting better. It's about you being better and them being worse. We don't want fair. We want sacrifice and to be special. I mean, realistically, who wants everybody to be the same? But fairness isn't everybody being the same. It's no matter how unique, we all have the same amount of value. Like how a red t-shirt, a black t-shirt, a white t-shirt, and a yellow t-shirt can all be the same price, no matter how unique. We don't want challenge and growth. We want comfort and pampering. If we wanted challenge and growth, we could make it a mission for the UN and all the powers that be to take 1 year dedicated to solving the world hunger problem. Just feeding every person, whatever it takes, and we'd be successful. That is a challenge, and that is growth. But the powers want comfort, and they want to be pampered, which means you cannot get as much as they have, even if it means you have nothing at all. We don't want salvation. We want to say, I told you so. We don't want peace. We want entertainment.
Tourists and school children are going on field trips in Israel, but not to museums, instead to watch the destruction of Gaza, known as resilience tourism in Israel, but as genocide tourism internationally.
We don't want freedom. We want exclusive power. Because some people think that freedom can only be being in charge of other people. That if everyone was free, how can anybody be free at all? You see how backwards and just not real this line of thinking is? We don't want diversity and change. We want you to stay in line and to conserve all that we've built as it passes in the sands of time. They say that the wise man builds his house upon the rock, but time dictates that eventually that rock will turn into sand. And once everything that you've built upon becomes sand, will you grasp at the piles of dust trying to reclaim what once was? Or will you move on? Do you think that the rock wants you to put it back together again? Or do you think that it understands that that phase of life is over and that it is stepping into a new one, which is beautiful? That before maybe it had houses built upon it, but now it gets to enjoy being sand castles and the sound of the waves and to be home to many creatures that have a great time exploring it. That before it was one big slab, but now it gets to be a part of an endless wave and sea of dunes. That before, when it was too heavy to move, that now it gets to flow freely across the surface of particles that are just like it. What makes America great is its ideas. Unfortunately, the more that I've learned, especially about people who are like me, the more that I've realized that we've never lived up to our ideals, that our roots are buried in blood, in dishonor, in deception. But in the muck, we always looked up. We always saw what could be. And it wasn't backwards. It was there for us to reach towards, always. It was in integrating and innovating, in championing our successes and learning from our losses. And for the most part, it was in the people. Most great civilizations are remembered from the stories that we tell and that they told, from the art that was created, the music that they listened to, from the clothes that they wore. Success across history has always been measured by the people. America has all the potential in the world to not only be the greatest, but to be great. Being the most pleasant smelling piece of shit doesn't mean that you smell nice. I'm only making this video because I actually do believe in the things that I was taught about America. And the only reason I have to believe them is because I can't say that they are absolutely factual to this day. But we can stand together, each of us unique aspects, each of us different parts of the puzzle, but that put together make a beautiful collective picture. One that maybe as pieces of the puzzle we'll never get to see. But just because the puzzle pieces don't know how beautiful they are, doesn't mean that they're not. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. If nobody's told you today, or if everybody has, either way, I love you. I'm proud of you, and I trust you to keep being your best self. As always, God bless, Wa love, Yah guide, and be new, or whatever you'd like to be. As always, free Palestine. And I will see you on the next video.